Hi there, I'm Mike from Agility Fleet, and today we've been lucky enough to get hold of Mazda's first plug-in hybrid that they've released across any of their options, the new CX-60 petrol plug-in hybrid, 2.5 litre, 327 PS. Fantastic looking vehicle, SUV crossover as well, which we've been quite excited to get hold of, which we luckily this week we've had. A little bit of details on the battery that's been given on the vehicle, 8-year warranty or 100,000 miles with a range of about 37 miles. Start at the front end of the vehicle just in terms of the actual features and how it looks. Lovely, deep, imposing grille, which we think looks fantastic. Lovely, nice, long bonnet, just nice and smooth, taking you onto the windscreen itself. Moving around to the side of the vehicle also, nice lovely 20-inch machine cut alloys as well, which I think is a lovely feature on the vehicle. And also the set off with some of the nice little chrome trims across the vehicle, and it runs right down the back to the back of the vehicle on top of each of the doors windows as well for you. So taking a look at the back of the vehicle, to be fair, nothing too much just stands out hugely in terms of nice little features, but it is what it is in that respect. It's not too ugly, nice sort of sleek lines. Comes with a little bulge in the middle across where the actual rear lights are as well for you. Lovely little feature though it does come with, because with this being the Takumi spec as well, top spec, you've got some nice sort of, features for the driver with keyless boot opening technology as well, with the old foot swipe. Nice and easy if you're carrying all those bags or with the babies as well. And again, equally to close, foot swipe. Would add, the key does need to be in the pocket or close to the vicinity of the boot, or as we found out to ourselves, we're all there wagging our legs and nothing was working. But to be fair, if you are close up, pretty much every time works perfectly. The boot itself, looking at about, I think, 470 litres as it stands. It does open up to about 500 if you lift up the actual shelf and the bottom as well. With the seats drop down, you're up to about 1,700 litres of space as well. In comparison to some of the competitors on the market, it's a little bit under, maybe but at the same time, it's still pretty reasonable and pretty good. I don't think people will complain too much with the space and the practicality that's going to offer to people who actually do want to actually purchase the vehicle. So if we jump into the back of the vehicle, it's not bad actually space-wise. The seat is actually set, which we'll come on to a bit later on as well, in terms of the actual setting the seats and the driving position for a particular height of the actual driver themselves. So this is currently set for myself. I'm 6'2", so you can see it's already where it's sitting at the moment. I would say it's a little bit cramped in that respect. My knee is on the handle on the door, but as I say, I would say, you know, I'm over average height in that respect. I don't think it's a really too much of a negative point. I think there is plenty of space still for most people, if I'm being perfectly honest. And again, when I was driving in that position, I've got plenty of room to move forward if I do need it, to give a little bit more of a comfortable ride in the back for anybody who needs it. So I think it's fair. It's actually a nice spacious rear unit for the vehicle. In terms of different options we can have, we do also have heated seats on this option, with it being Takumi as well. Also USB-C, and also, which is pretty standard now, a lot of the plug-ins are electric. You've also got your 3-prong plug option, 220 volt in the back also. As much as it stands as that, that's pretty much everything you get, but I don't think that's a bad feature, to be fair. I mean, how many vehicles jump in these days with the lovely sort of heated seats for the rear passengers as a luxury as well? Okay, so into the cockpit area now. I have to admit, and I think this is an opinion across the whole of Agility as well, Mazda have done a fantastic job with the luxury and how the build quality internally of the vehicle. Lovely sort of material that's been used. I mean, it's with the one we saw just a few weeks back as a quick little peek. Didn't have the white trim, but I think even when we saw this, sometimes I know the white trim can be a bit of a hit or miss with people, but I must admit it does stand out really nicely. It's a really lovely built vehicle, lovely, nice, I say, smooth, nice quality touch soft points with all the little drinks holders and also compartments as well. And again, it's just been, they've really thought it through. I think it really hit home with everybody. Really impressed with how it looked and the quality of the build, especially with the chrome finishes. Obviously different options you can have as well. The other point as well with the panoramic roof, which is one of the packs this vehicles come with, which is an option you can add on for about £1,000-ish extra feature. But generally, they've done a really fantastic job. And in terms of, I think Mazda sometimes maybe with badge snobbery in the market, Mazda didn't quite get the sort of plaudits it deserves, really, and I think this is a fantastic effort from Mazda to really try and push the Mazda brand into a higher position and see if it can pull people across, particularly when the price points still look fairly reasonable considering where we sit in the market currently. It's a nice little feature is the driver personalisation position. What I'm going to do at the moment is just completely mess up where we currently are with the electronic column, which is a nice little feature as well for adjustment. Also, the seat comes with fully electric control, so seat height, rake, lumbar, etc., just so it messes up the actual setting for us, and then we'll go through and show you how to set it up, which is really nice and simple as well. Main menu, as you can see on the infotainment system, lovely dial in the middle as well, nice little touch points. Scroll down to your settings, scroll through your settings menu, straightforward driver personalisation system, scroll down the list, add new driver, okay, and then literally simply choose your height. So 6'2", start, and as you can see, the vehicle itself starts to recognise and adjust my position that they think is the best way to seat position for me and steering position. It will also ask you once it's completed on the screen, so as you can see recommended, it will also ask you to save if you wish to a driver 1, 2 or 3. Okay, and it will also ask you to just look left and right, looking at the mirrors, to also recognise the face. So essentially, when you get in the vehicle, if it's changed from yourself to somebody else, it should recognise you and adjust to suit you in your position. So coming down to, I guess, the most important part is performance and the drive of the vehicle. As mentioned at the start, you're looking at a 2.5 litre 327 PS that the vehicle has. In terms of its drive and pull, we'd expect a bit more from it. I must admit, I think some of it, if it's there, top end, you do it nicely and just consistently pull away for you. I think the one comment was made, and I did see a quote referenced a sore throat and a strepsil is the noise it does make if you do choose to put your foot down. But maybe again as a first punt, maybe as a petrol. There is a diesel one on the way through, we believe, and also I think a diesel plug-in as well when we checked. So maybe have a little bit more performance response different on the diesel option. But yeah, I think that was one comment made across the board with everybody who actually just tried the vehicle itself. Its ride itself, in terms of maybe your A and B roads, driving at sort of 20-30 miles an hour, it's not a bad drive, to be fair. It's quite smooth. The one concern or the question that came up a couple of times, anything on dual carriageway on the motorway, 60-70 miles an hour, any little rolls in the road, and the car does follow it and then continues to. It really bounces, and at times it was a little bit like, wow, if you were kind of maybe in trouble and needed to evade anything quite quickly, how much roll and rock and rolling would you have in the vehicle, and then obviously the subsequent control you would have of the vehicle. But again, we are talking SUV here, crossover, so maybe we're being a little bit unfair in that respect. People who drove the vehicle don't necessarily drive that every day in terms of that model vehicle, so we don't want to be too harsh, but it was something that was noted. The one little thing that did come up as well, and maybe this is purely just on this vehicle, but it would be interesting to find out if any others have had the same problem, with some of the weather we had last couple of days, when the wipers are going, the actual wipers catching the side of the windscreen and where the actual frame is, and you're getting a tapping noise, which was a bit frustrating driving the vehicle. But again, could well just be down to this model. It might not be across the board. It might just be a simple adjustment that's being made. Steering wise, again, I think that if it's whether it's a motor power steering unit potentially, we'll have to check. Generally, to be fair, it's fine. It drives right. It's not too heavy in terms of manoeuvring, especially in tight areas. The one thing that I found a little bit frustrating and a bit awkward was just when you're literally just looking for those incremental adjustments on the steering wheel. It just found a little bit glitchy and heavy at times. Again, it's something subtle, but I guess that's the whole thing we're looking for when we're driving a vehicle is how does it feel? Is it nice? Do we enjoy it? And I guess for me, it was quite noticeable, those small little adjustments, just the steering wheel itself felt a bit glitchy to make that adjustment. But overall, I guess we can't be too harsh on the vehicle. I think they've made a fantastic effort at it. It did leave a few of those little points we've made, some negative elements with some of the guys, but I think let's give it I think if you drive it a bit more, maybe those sort of, you'll get used to those different elements and they might soften out the more and more you drive the vehicle. Myself personally, I'm sort of 20, 30 minutes away from where we work. A roads, dual carriageway, motorway. MPG of around 55. Currently we've just been around on some sort of A roads at the moment, 40 MPG. So, it'd be interesting again to get a real life scale of that. Obviously driving it over maybe a few weeks, but unfortunately we don't get that opportunity. But I think overall, there was a little bit of a sadness to how the vehicle did perform in terms of its feel, considering how much effort a Mazda have put into it, how it looks, which we all agreed was fantastic. And internally, again, the features they've put on the vehicle, I say it is a Takumi top spec, so you are getting literally all the little features and odds that have been added to it. I would add as well, this option does have the convenience pack, panoramic roof option, and drive pack as well. They're all roughly about £1,000 as a package. I think maybe just a little bit over for a couple of them. So £3,000 plus for those three options if you did choose to have them on your factory order. But overall, I think quite a nice vehicle, a great effort. Mazda is a product that we've really wanted to push more at Agility. We have to said that in the last few months. It's a great product. I think sometimes the bad snobbery gets in the way where people think maybe the Mazda doesn't quite sit in the premium market, but I think they're having a really good go at trying to make it fit. And again, price-wise, certainly from a leasing point of view, they're looking pretty reasonable, I have to say. I mean, this is, I think, depending on profile, mileage, of course, somewhere around the 450 mark. And I think even for retail, you're looking on the road of just under 50 grand at the top spec as well. So again, it's not a bad price considering who it's up against, the Audis and the BMWs in the world. Feel little again with the tech you got on the vehicle. There are some great options on the headlights, the full beam option, which does adjust to literally a passing car coming across. I know which is standard, but this stays on one side, which I think one of the guys driving did find a little bit off-putting. But again, I think it's just the way now the market's moving, the tech options, the drivability and the ease of making the car be so more intelligent. It's just the way the market's moving forward. And those options are going to become more and more available on the more vehicles in the coming years. I think overall, I do think, as I mentioned previously, it's left a little bit of a negative feel with some of the guys in terms of its drive and performance. But the look, the aesthetic, what they've put together internally, everyone was really happy about, really liked it as well. So it'll be interesting to see if we do get the opportunity to pop into the diesel or the diesel hybrid or the plug-ins during a few months' time. It'd be great to see if we can try and compare and give you some more options and what our thoughts were. So if the Mazda does pique your interest, please give us a call. More than happy to help. Give us a shout at Agility Fleet. We're here to help with any questions, queries, or any additional advice you do require.